Welcome back to Never Don't Ask with me, John Martin, and we have another station review. This time we make our way to North Yorkshire and the spa town of Harrogate and its Northern Trains Run station. The main entrance to this station is on Station Parade. Parade being an upgrade to the normal road, with a bridge crossing the line on Station Avenue. The Leeds-bound platform is also accessible from East Parade. The station is pretty central to the town, with the main sites of the town being to the west. The station sits on the Harrogate line that runs from Leeds to York. Looking at the line on a map, the line from York heads southeast out of Knaresborough, then bears tightly to the northwest through Starbeck, just over 2 miles away. The railway loops around so that when we get to Harrogate, it's heading south again, then southwest through Hornbeam Park Station, just under a mile away, and by the time it reaches Pannell, the fourth station that serves the town, the railway has turned tightly to the southeast. The reasons for these tight turns are that the sections of track came from the old Leeds to First line that ran through Starbeck to the east of central Harrogate. Long before the elegant brick structures appeared in Harrogate, the town's first tentative link with the railway came in the mid-19th century. On the 20th of July 1848, the Leeds and First Railway opened Harrogate Brunswick Station, a small terminus just to the north of Trinity Road, built by the company later named the Leeds Northern Railway. Brunswick was one of several early railheads that brought visitors and goods to the spa town, but it stood awkwardly on the edge of Harrogate rather than in its bustling centre. Just a year later, the 1849, another important line reached the area when the Leeds and Firsk route was completed through Starbeck, linking Leeds and Firsk and beyond. Still, Harrogate's rail links were fragmented. Passengers arriving at Brunswick or Starbeck still needed a carriage or coach to reach the heart of the town. The real transformation came in the 1860s after a series of amalgamations brought the region's scattered railways under the control of a single company. The York and North Midland Railway, the Leeds Northern, and the York, Newcastle and Berwick Railway had by 1854 merged to form the North Eastern, the NER, a powerful regional network intent on rationalising routes and improving services. Under NER leadership, engineers set out to centralise Harrogate's rail traffic. 1st of August 1862, Harrogate Railway Station, the version that still serves the town today, was formally opened by the North Eastern Railway. It was designed by the company architect Thomas Prosser. It was the first substantial brick building in Harrogate and featured 2 platforms framed by an impressive Victorian detailing. This new station sat close to the town centre and connected the former Brunswick line with the Starbeck route, finally giving passengers direct entry into the centre of Harrogate itself. Almost as soon as it opened, the station began to evolve. A severe storm in November 1866 damaged parts of the roof and chimney, but by the 1870s the station was well established and footbridges and other facilities were added. Continued growth of traffic, particularly after the opening of a second route to Leeds via Wetherby in 1876, led to the North Eastern extending the platforms in 1883 and to undertake a more ambitious remodelling in 1897 to 1898. This work included new bay platforms at the south end, updated signal cabins and the opening of a large goods depot on nearby Bower Road. By the turn of the century, Harrogate Station was a major hub of North Yorkshire rail traffic, hosting both local and long-distance services and reflecting the town's popularity as a tourist and spa destination. The NER continued to operate and maintain the station into the early 20th century. With the Grouping Act of 1923, the North Eastern Railway became part of the London and North Eastern, the LNER, which carried on passenger and freight operations through the interwar period. After nationalisation in 1948, Harrogate became part of the British Railways Eastern Region, it's northeastern region, then eastern region, and changing economics of the post-war period. Britain had a profound impact on the network, just as the sweeping changes recommended in the Beeching Report of 1963. Several of the routes serving Harrogate were closed. The lines via Wetherby ended passenger service on the 6th of Jan 1964, and the Leeds Northern route towards Ripon and Northallerton was completely closed on the 6th of March 1967. At the same time as the network was contracting, the station's old Grand Victorian buildings were largely demolished in 1964 to 1965 and replaced with a more utilitarian structure designed by Taylor, Bone and Miller architects. Over the decades that followed, Harrogate railway station was adapted into staging patterns of rail travel. The original wrought iron footbridge lasted into the early 2000s before being replaced, and modern facilities were added to serve commuters and visitors. In recent years, the station has apparently seen investment and refurbishment under current operators, with enhancements to the waiting areas, lighting and passenger comfort. There are two platforms here. Kind of. Platform 1 is for York-bound services and is 221 metres long. Platform 3 is 243 metres long and for Leeds-bound services. Both are side platforms. So what about Platform 2? Well, apparently Platform 2 is a short bay platform to the other side of Platform 1. It isn't in public service, and confusingly, this leads to the platforms being numbered 2, then 1, and then 3. The Department for Transport classes this as a C1 category station. It's a busy feeder station. Marked for services, 5 out of 10. There are 2 trains an hour in each direction on the Leeds to York service. Leeds is 35 minutes away, Knaresborough is 8 minutes away, and York is 40 minutes away. LNER run a few trains a day to London, though I would note that one of these trains was cancelled when I was at Harrogate, and right in this review now and just checking train times, the next one is cancelled. On this train, Leeds is 29 minutes away, Doncaster is 1 hour 7 minutes, and King's Cross is 2 hours 50. From the 24-25 figures, the most popular destination was Leeds, with 237,366 journeys, followed by York, London, King's Cross, Knaresborough and Horsforth. We had 1,879,366 entries and exits, which breaks down to 5,149 per day. For such a well-used station, it doesn't really have a high service level, with 601 services a week, giving just over 60 passengers per service. However, this is an interchange station. For those people who managed to find an LNER service that was actually running, we have a daily average of 5,153 passengers per day and 60.2 passengers a service. Just slightly more, just a bit, slightly. Passenger figures are increasing and are well above the level of pre-COVID numbers. Marks for onward travel, 4 out of 5. Harrogate bus station is just outside the station, so this gets bonus points for integrated transport hub. Looking at the Transdev network, we have the 1 to Knaresborough. The 1A then does a loop around Aspin, the 1B through Eastfield, and the 1C through Carmeres. The 2 is a loop through North East Harrogate via Dean Park and Bilton. The 3 is a loop through North West Harrogate around Jennyfield. The 4 heads west to Harrogate West Business Park. The 6 is a loop in the southwest via Panel Ash and Harlow Hill. The 7 goes to Wetherby and Leeds. The 24 to Pateley Bridge. The 36 runs from Ripon to Leeds. The 59 is a Saturday only service to Skipton, and there is a flyer service to Leeds Bradford Airport. Kudos for Transdev for when you look up Harrogate bus station, you can quickly click through to a map of all the bus services in Harrogate and Knaresborough. Marks for accessibility, 4 out of 10. In theory, this should get high marks. Both platforms have level access to the street, the station is staffed, has displays and announcements. The pair of platforms are linked by a bridge, and that bridge has lifts to both platforms. While I was on the bridge, I felt a leg muscle tighten, so I felt that would be a reasonable excuse for me to use the lift to the northern bound platform. I got in, I pressed the button, the doors closed, nothing happened. I pressed down again, the lift announced it was going down, and didn't. I pressed down again, the lift proclaimed it was about to proceed in reducing its altitude. Yet it stayed still. Thankfully though, the door open button still worked. When I got back to station 3 hours later, limped over the bridge and stood waiting for my train as 2 northern employees were watching a woman struggle to get her pushchair up the stairs. I've been thinking that lift is broke. I've been thinking that. Should we check? Now watch that woman over there. She's going to the lift. Oh no, she's coming back now. Lift must be broken. Okay. So no attempt to assist anybody or report the issue. Yes, friends, I could have helped the pushchair, but by the time I got over there, she'd been up, and with a sudden leg injury, I don't know what else damage I could have done, but there were many customers here who could have, or the staff who were paid to help could have. Am I the villain? Or Northern Rail? Or the staff? Or the other passengers? Or is society in general to blame? I'll hand that over to the comments. Marked for station facilities, 6 out of 10. Platform 1 has covered seating and a waiting room. This is the side where the main building for the station is. Platform 3 has some covered seating and some limited facilities. We have both toilets and baby change facilities on Platform 1. Also on the platform is the cycle storage. Into the main building, there are what you expect: a ticket office, a photo booth and a convenience shop. I'm not how sure the convenience shop is meant to be convenient. As I glance through the window, most of the shelves seem underfilled. I'm all for local businesses, but the WH Smiths or Sainsbury's will have actual stock in them. Outside we have the car park. The happy fictional world of National Rail website says there are 117 spaces, 6 of which are accessible. There is a massive car park next to platform 3, but this is part of the shopping centre. There's a weird situation where the bridge from the shopping centre to the car park runs directly over the station overbridge, and it looks like the lifts used to go up to that level but don't anymore. I'm assuming this is so that passengers actually have to go through the gate line. A big plus is the station tap, which is housed in the last remaining part of the old station. It was well frequented when I visited and had some good beer. Marks for care and character, 5 out of 20. This is Harrogate. It is a tourist destination, a spa town with direct trains from London. As such, the station should be part of the tourist experience. Doesn't have to be spectacular, but there should become kind of theatre to a station. And unless you're the staff who are watching people struggle up the lift, up the stairs, this has none. The 1860 station was designed by Thomas Prosser, the architect behind York Station and the portico at Newcastle Station. This got demolished and was replaced by concrete dross. With its confusing platform numbering, Platform 2 being the wrong side of Platform 1, fenced off and left in disuse, to the looming tower block over the leads end of the platform. This isn't a place that reflects the increased use of the train network over the past few decades. It's a sad reminder of its nadir. The main station building is a functional block that hideously contrasts with the architecture opposite. Just a bit of the old station remains, turned into the station tap. Marked for nearby things, we have 5 out of 10. The Victoria Shopping Centre is opposite the station. Shopping streets of the town is just beyond this. The pump room and museum and spa buildings are the far side of the town centre. Overall, we have 29 out of 65, which comes down to 44.6%. It's a station that screams about how the 1960s started the downturn in the UK rail network. It's not an attractive station. Even when you look at past issues brought on by the limitations of the 1960s design. It does itself no favours. The shop was understocked, the lift was broken, and the staff didn't care. Once again, thank you for watching this. As I travel around the country, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified of the next station review.